Hey everybody, welcome to the On the Fire Show. This is your host Daryl Brooks, and I have a great show for you guys. I want you to check out this great show. I have Crystal on. She's a mother of a transgender son right here in New Jersey, and she's going to talk about what happened in her experience. But first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for watching the show and supporting the show. And here's Crystal. She's coming on right now. Crystal, you're approved. Fire Show. Hello, waiting for Crystal. She is a part of the New Jersey Mama.net, and she's going to talk about some of the things that happened to her and her son. So, Crystal, are you there? Welcome to the On Fire Show. We're waiting to add on, and make sure your phone is landscape, and we're going to add you on. Can everybody hear me clear? We're just fine. We're waiting for Crystal and hear about it, the sad story, what happened to her. And so, oh, she's connecting.
Hi, here I am.
Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
I'm all right.
All right, can you hear me clear?
Yes, I can hear you. Got me?
Yes, I can hear you clear. So, I am so happy to have you come on the show. I'm so glad that you reached out to me. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and we had a long talk, I guess a good hour about what happened, your situation and your son. And so you're Crystal, you're the head of NewJerseyMama.net. And so, Crystal, let's get to the facts. Tell us what happened to your son.
Well, 2.5 years ago, he came out and said that he's transgender and he has gender dysphoria. And this came as a complete shock to me because never as a child did he ever express any confusion. He never wanted to wear dresses, play with dolls. He was always a little boy as far as, your typical boy. Liked sports. He played rough and tough. He played with his Power Rangers. He went to school, had his friends, never expressed anything. So this came to me out of the blue.
Wow. So, what happened was after you left high school, you talked about earlier that it happened when your son went to college, Rutgers University.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did. So from kindergarten to 12th grade, my son was in private school. He loved being in Catholic school. He was A+ student, always did well, never had a problem with him. So he got accepted to Rutgers, and I thought that was wonderful because he would still be close to home, maybe an hour and a half away. And so I don't know. All of a sudden, at the end of his sophomore into junior year, he got involved with the social justice organizations at the school. He started communicating with people that were, the LGBTQ community. He started hanging out with a different group of people, and he basically self-diagnosed himself and said that he has gender dysphoria. And he had gone to a clinic in New York because he wanted to start hormone therapy. And I found this all out by accident. He didn't come out and tell me. I don't even know when he was going to even tell me. But so the clinic didn't accept his health insurance. So what he did was he went to the Rutgers campus doctor, and they said, "Oh, no problem. You're a full-time student. You can come on our plan, and you'll be all taken care of."
Wow.
The hormone their pills, the hormone pills, the blood work, everything that comes with it, he can have it because he's a student. I didn't have to pay for it. I wasn't going to pay for it. And my son didn't. And so it's basically, I guess, taxpayers' dollars paying for the transition.
Mm-hmm. So,
And go ahead.
so tell me, when was there a time when you had a discussion with your son when he was in college, a deep discussion on like what happened, what did he tell you? Basically, why was he
Well,
going through this?
that's the problem. he will not talk to me about what is going on. So I figured the best thing for him to do was to get therapy. So I I recommended to him strongly. I said, you cannot just go and start these hormones. This is going to affect the rest of your life. You don't know, these medicines will harm your body. They will sterilize you. And what about your future and your career and why you're going to college so you can have a career? And so I recommended that he go to a therapist. I called a few different therapists. Come to find out that in the state of New Jersey, 99% of these therapists are all following WPATH's standards of care, which is WPATH is the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. And they're all being trained with these procedures to basically affirm. They want, if you think you're transgender, then you are, and you need hormones. So I found one therapist, and she was a Christian counselor, and she sat with him and she reviewed his, the paperwork that he fills out, and she said, wait a minute, you've got too many underlying issues to address here. You cannot transition without taking care of everything else going on in your life. And he got upset and he stormed out. Why? Because she wasn't going to give him what he wanted.
So talk to us about those, if you don't mind, those underlining issues.
Well, there's things in his life, because it is private, but there's things in his life that just happened, and without going into details, but specifically with him, but children and teens and young adults, usually there's some kind of trauma related. It might actually be like an ADHD, anxiety disorder. There's other things sometimes that trigger this.
So the underlying issue, maybe would have been some type of ADHD disorder, and but he wasn't. It's not like he showed signs of in high school, elementary, junior high, of wanting to be a girl or do or any type of homosexuality acts, anything that would make you feel like, okay, what's going on with my son?
No, exactly. I mean, either he played me very well, or he is, or he's gaslighting me, because he's telling me that I didn't see it, that I didn't see these things in him growing up. They were there the whole time. I don't believe it. I'm his mother, and as a child, if a child has any type of flamboyance or anything, this comes out naturally. And nothing, a child 3-4 years old doesn't know to hide it. It just comes out naturally, and he's never showed anything. So
you believe that when he went to Rutgers, was it with Rutgers Camden, Rutgers New Brunswick?
It was Rutgers New Brunswick. And what happened is, I just believe my son is naive. He's a really nice kid. And, but, and I think that once he put this in his head and other people affirmed him, it was kind of difficult to go backwards, because he was just, he was lost and confused, but Rutgers, the therapist, just guided him in that direction of transition. Like, well, this is who you are. So I had permission to speak to the Rutgers therapist. My son signed a document saying that I can have a few consultations with her.
And what was that like?
I did. Well, the first day I walked in to meet the therapist, right away she hands me papers about how, I should, be positive about my son's transition, and I need to, affirm him. It's important. If not, she gave me all these suicide statistics, which basically that's baloney, honestly, because these it's like these they pressure the parents to go along with this or their child will kill themselves. And it's starting to come out now that this is not true, because the suicide statistics are still there after transition, and probably even more because they haven't addressed the mental health issues. So, they back you into a corner. They scare the crap out of you. I left there really upset because I know what my reality is. And my son, and she says to me, well, why are you so afraid of transition? I said, excuse me, I'm afraid of these medications. I'm afraid of the damage it's going to do to my son's body. He will never be able to have kids. And you're affirming him to go around dressed as a woman when, honestly, he's not even going to pass well. So he's always going to be given that double look. People are just going to, it's like, I hate this because it's like they are telling my son, yes, it's okay. You're a woman. You can go out there and dress like a woman, go into the girls' bathrooms, women's bathrooms. You can do anything a woman can do because you're a woman. You're a woman. And they're putting this crap in his head, and they're lying to him. So it really hurts me to know that he's out there thinking that this is okay. It's not okay.
Yeah. So, we're having this rally April 27th. For first of all, for those who are just watching, just turned on, this is Crystal. Her son is now transgender. She's a part of the New Jersey's Mama.net, and she's telling her story and all about her son and Rutgers University, and what Rutgers, the physician, the psych, and the doctors did to her son. For those who are watching, just watching. So we're having this march April 27th. That's on a Saturday from 11 to 3. And the reason why, because we're having the LGBTQ bill that was passed under Phil Murphy, the law, as the law S1569. And that was pushed by Jersey Q, I think it was New Jersey Equality, LGBTQ organization. Tell us, what can a law like this do to young kids and parents? What can a law do like this to young kids, and what should parents should be doing right now in the school system? Because this law is going to be going all through the public school systems, even at junior high, from junior high to high school. I've talked to a lot of parents. A lot of parents upset. They don't know, what's happening. Tell us your aspect on what should happen, and how this is harmful, especially to young kids.
Yeah, so let me backtrack a little and explain to you how I came around to having my blog, and then I'll touch base on this new law. Because what happened was, when I saw the therapist at Rutgers, I asked her if there was any way that she could help my son feel comfortable in his body so that he can address his underlying issues and not have to be on medications for the rest of his life. And she said, oh no, that's conversion therapy. That's illegal in New Jersey. Wow. So helping my son feel comfortable in his body was not legal. So I went home that day and I started doing my research on the New Jersey conversion therapy law that was signed into law by Governor Christie in 2013. Now, once it involves sexual orientation. You can't, talk a person out of homosexuality. But the problem was they included the words gender identity and gender expression in the law, which now meant that they cannot ask a person why they feel the way they feel, and it's illegal to make them feel comfortable in what they're born into. And you, as a therapist, have to help them along this path of transition. So now,
So what you're
this makes
saying
it,
is this. So what you're saying, it's against the law to tell a young man that, you know, hey, you're having these issues, but it's, you know, you shouldn't want to think about being a transgender. Let's work on your issues while you're feeling certain ways. So
right.
that's against the law. To
It's
speak out
illegal. It's
against it
illegal.
is illegal.
It's illegal, yes, to tell a boy. So now here's what happens. So now you've got this LGBTQ history going to be taught in schools. I also feel that this is a window of opportunity to get the transgenderism agenda into the schools, because they will talk about this. So now what happens is they talk about this, a child starts to question, because now they see, if for whatever reason, you know, when they go through this, you know, 12 to 15-year-old age, they're not feeling comfortable in their bodies, they feel a little awkward sometimes, you know, it's going to be put in their heads that maybe they were born in the wrong body. And what now is going to happen is they introduce this to the kids. The kids now start to get confused, and the New Jersey law doesn't allow them to get any help, and it sends them down the path of transition. So I have been, believe me, I sent copies of letters to all the members who sponsored this bill. I said, you guys made a mistake. You need to remove gender identity from the conversion therapy law, because any child that's suffering from gender dysphoria will not get the proper care. And I wrote to Governor Christie, I wrote to my state senator Oraho, I wrote to, and I've communicated with Holly Shapizi, who is a Republican assemblywoman in Bergen County, who tells me, well, this was a bipartisan bill. No, they don't understand the ramifications, because they put this in the law. So because this is in the law, my son could not get proper care. He was prescribed the hormones by the Rutgers campus doctor, because there's nothing we could do to stop it.
So only at what age can you prescribe these hormone pills?
Well, you know, the thing is, I don't know, you're talking about kids as young as 12, okay? They start them on puberty blockers.
Wow.
So
12
yeah,
years
so
old.
around 12, yeah, around 12, yeah, around that age, 12, 14. Somebody else can, you know, chime in and remarks and correct me.
So can I ask you a question? I don't have my daughter, she's 16, and my son's are older now. So if I had a son who was 12 years old, and he came to me, he said, Daddy, I seen this, I went to this class, LGBTQ class, and I think I know for a fact that I want to be a woman. I want to be a transgender. My body's in a woman's body. My body is, you know, I have a woman's, I believe that my body is a woman's body. I want to be a transgender. So, and if I tell him no, focus on being a boy. You're a boy, not a girl. What could happen to me as a father, and what rights does parents have? And do the parents have no rights that the kid could say, I'm going to the school, I'm going to the police, I'm going to a therapy, and I'm going to be a transgender at 12 years old?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a law in New Jersey that says that the school doesn't have to tell you if your kid is transgender. So your kid can go to school, go into the nurse's office, change their clothes, and he can present as a girl during school, and nobody will tell you.
Wow.
So I think I wrote a little bit about it on my blog.
This is madness to me. And I'm sure that people are watching. Now, a child has to get permission to get on a pill. Am I right?
Yeah, I would think, I'm not an attorney, and plus my son was older, so I don't know what the laws are in Jersey. But if you don't let your kid transition, they're trying to change it around and call it child abuse. Like I saw the article that you posted on your Facebook. Um, that kid that wanted to start hormones, and it was taken away from the parents, and I don't know if it went to another family member. So it's getting to that point because they call it child abuse if we don't allow our children to transition, which it's totally backwards.
Yeah.
It's child abuse to give them puberty blockers, to sterilize them. That's what the puberty blocker does. And then it stunts their growth. And what kind of life are they going to have? And typically the studies show that 80 to 90% of kids, young kids who have gender dysphoria, outgrow it if they're allowed to go through puberty. But what's happening is they're prescribing these puberty blockers, and once you do that, there's really the chances are minimal that the child will revert back. So they're not even letting the kid, they're letting these children make lifelong decisions when
At 12 years
they
old.
have, yeah.
11, 12 years old, a
So,
kid can make a lifelong decision and changes the way he thinks. You know, I mean, that bothers me, and I'm sure that some of the people that are watching, it bothers them that they know that their 12-year-old can go to high school, can go to school and put on a dress and come home and leave the dress off and come home to school. And the teachers will not, administration will not tell you anything. I mean, it's serious. It's kind of madness, and this is why we're having this this rally to talk about this and speak out against this. You know, the idea is what's next, and we talked about me and some other John Robert Carmen, Father Brian McCormick, Pastor Greg Locke of Tennessee, and then looking to the point of what's next is we're looking at pedophilia. When 12-year-old,
yes.
and I was talking to a young lady on the train, and she said she was a leftist, and she was in college, and she was going to Rutgers Camden. She said that she believes that a 12-year-old has the right to make her own decision, his or her own decisions. They are well equipped to make their own decisions. That to me tells me that something is wrong with a part of society that believes a 12-year-old can make the right decision, that a 12-year-old should not have to listen to their parents, and if your parents disagree, that they can be possibly taken away from you, and also giving hormone pills, but also, to the point of you have these organizations right now at Rutgers and other colleges, the liberal colleges, putting in these individuals' head, young kids' head, hey, if you got a problem, you don't feel comfortable in your body, then you can transition to be a woman. I mean, this is madness.
Yeah. What's happening right now is I really believe we have a social contagion on our hands, because the numbers are outrageous of the kids, the young adults that are transitioning. Back years ago, the number was so minimal, and all of a sudden now it's become trendy to identify as something other than yourself. So we do have a social contagion on our hands, and the media doesn't help by promoting what they do, and they make it seem like, oh, it's so glamorous and fun and rainbows, parades, but meanwhile it's a sad experience. Families are broken. We have we've got parents. I hear about parents all the time. A couple parents I know, their daughters had mastectomies because they really believe that they're boys. These are girls that, as soon as they turn 18, they go and have their surgery. So
wow,
this is crazy.
It's madness. I did a show a couple of days ago, and I talk about the young kid who's, I think is 11, 12 years old, who was on ABC, the ABC show. I don't know if you saw the show, and he was he's a transgender young boy, 12 years old, in strip clubs.
Mm-hmm.
In strip
Mm-hmm.
clubs.
Yep.
Dancing in strip clubs. It's amazing. And then they promoted on ABC, and they had all these other transgenders on the show, giving the boy little presents, and just and it's sad. Then you had Porter, who's on the show. He went to the Oscars wearing a dress, and
Mm-hmm.
they're praising. Oh, look at a man with a dress on, and it's sad because a lot of people in this society are starting to question, what type of world we live in. What type? I mean, we America, we're supposed to be a great country, and we're looking at to the point of like Rome and the fall of Rome. This is some of the things that happen. We talk about pedophilia. 12-year-old, they want to be able to say, well, 12-year-old, 11-year-olds have the right to have this decision to have sex or not. And it's, when I tell people, I think that the people that are watching this show, and please share this, that we have to fight back. We have to stand up for our young people.
Mm-hmm.
This is Crystal. She's a part of your website, www.
NewJerseyMama.net.
Join her website, see what she's doing, help her out, and help other ones like this. And it's sad. And I definitely want you at the rally. I want you to speak at the rally, at the press conference. People need to know your story and other stories like mothers that have tried and this madness has happened to you and other mothers. So I definitely support you, and it has to. We have to fight. We have to stand up. We have to speak out against this. Speak
Mm-hmm.
out about what's happening in these colleges and the
Oh,
site.
definitely.
The site that
Mm-hmm.
you spoke to with your son, and the doctors that gave your son these pills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I know another mom because I communicate with so many other moms. Their college, this girl's college took them on a field trip to go see a gender clinic. I mean, this is outrageous. You can't send your kid away to college and then 4 years later they come back as somebody else and somebody different, and it's just insanity. And on a federal level now, what we have is we have the Equality Act bill that was introduced to Congress. Now, they're looking to redefine sex to include gender identity. So now it would be on a federal level. So I was just focusing on New Jersey because that's where I live and that's what it affected. But now it's on a federal level.
Mm-hmm.
So if gender identity becomes a protected class, any male that identifies as a woman would have legal access to women's shelters, locker rooms, bathrooms, sports teams.
Yes.
So it's like,
Even,
it's really getting out of hand.
Even the sports team, and I don't know if you know the two track in Connecticut, the two,
Yes.
and they're cleaning house. They're beating the girls.
Yes. Yes.
And it's amazes me that the families and people in Connecticut aren't trying to stop this because no matter what you do, you get the operation, you don't get the operation. If you're still a male, it's like just saying the sun is now a moon and the moon is now a sun. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And
go.
they're starting to come out. They're starting to speak out because these girls that work so hard.
Yeah.
Are being defeated.
By boys.
There's yeah,
By boys.
and their scholarship.